Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champ Amani, Toomer. And Amani, Monday night football game, that was a nail-biter, to say the least. The Giants in the 2-minute drill, and a chance to win this game, getting the ball at their own 7, getting all the way down to the 34 before Daniel Jones is picked off.
Yeah, this is a game that the Giants had every opportunity to win. It's just the fact that the turnovers are one of the most determining factors beside the score if you're going to win a game or not. And the fact that they, kept in the game, fought really hard, but unfortunately, Daniel Jones throws the ball high. It's something that I've noticed he's been doing a lot, throwing the ball high, but that has a lot to do with the pressure and him not being able to set his feet and deliver a consistent throw because of the pocket situation. But it's a very tough situation. They played hard, but unfortunately in this business, playing hard just not good enough. You have to show production. This is a production business, and the Giants did not produce tonight. And
it's tough to see because, it's minutes left in the game. It's an 8-point game. It's a 1-possession game against the Steelers team that's got the second-best defense in the National Football League, allowing, fewer than 15 points per game. The Giants had already put up 18. It's a 1-possession game. They're moving down the field emphatically. But how did they get in this position? It was a series of turnovers that got them there, Amani.
It was turnovers. They had the interception, the strip sack by T.J. Watt early on in the game. But also, there's a lot of penalties. They had a penalty, a careless penalty by Malik Nabers that took a touchdown off of the board. And you can't, if you're going into Monday night, you're playing in a hostile environment. You're playing against the league leader in the AFC North, in the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you all the penalties, you're hurting yourself. They say the easiest way to win a game in the NFL is not to beat yourself. The Giants tonight beat themselves and didn't give themselves the opportunity to really show what they could do tonight, because they were in spurts. This Giants team played very well. It's just they didn't do it consistently enough.
Yeah, we talk about, the penalties that you talked about as well. 11 penalties for 65 yards on the Giants. A lot of yellow flags waving, and they weren't just those terrible towels out there, but
they were terrible for our team.
They were terrible for the Giants. As we take a look at some of these right here going on. This right here, this touchdown by Chris Manhurst, tight end, is called back because of a penalty. Another one right here, Malik Nabers in motion pre-snap, but because he never fully got set before the motion, there's an illegal motion flag thrown there. Can you explain that for some of our viewers who might not understand that?
Well, you have to get set to go in motion, right? Because so if you're not ever set in the formation and you go in motion, you never really kind of declare yourself where you are. So that's kind of indicative of tonight's game.
So when you say set in motion, when Malik ran out there, he didn't fully stop. He's the other side.
This is before this. So when he was on the other side, he needed to stop, establish himself, then go into motion, and that will allow you to be in motion, because right now you're constantly moving. You never get set. So the end of the play didn't show where the penalty was. Because he wasn't moving forward towards the line of scrimmage. He just never originally got set before he started the motion. So that highlight was great, but it wasn't where the penalty actually started.
Absolutely, and it's a tough one too. It's a tough rookie mistake for a young guy who's working with this pre-snap motion, and unfortunately it calls back a touchdown to the tight end Manhurst on that one. They would settle for a field goal. Another moment that had Giants fans probably frustrated was this punt right here. Let's pull up the video as we take a look at this moment in the game, because there was a moment in which the Giants punt the ball and things don't quite go so well.
They don't go so well. They punt it and they end up getting a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And when you give up a touchdown, your chances of winning go dramatically down. But this is the point we're talking about. Right there, you're supposed to allow the kicker to land without being impeded. Right now,
and this was not flagged. There was no penalty
at all.
Yeah.
So that was it's just the inconsistencies at times that Giant fans probably get, and most NFL fans get upset about. But it's part of the game, and that just because that flag wasn't thrown didn't mean that the coverage team couldn't go down and actually make that tackle. So there's a lot that went wrong on that play. Should have been bailed out by the referees with a penalty, but it wasn't. That's the game, and it's just how close the Giants were, losing the turnover battle, having a punt return. I mean, I think the percentages go down 80% if you give up a punt return touchdown or a special teams play. The team that gives it up more than likely loses. And the fact that the game was still only an 8-point game with a chance to win it down the stretch just shows you how well at times this Giants team actually performed.
Right, because that Steelers punt return for a touchdown was the first touchdown of the game.
Absolutely.
Going into that moment, it was tied at 9. We had seen nothing but field goals and solid red zone defense. Tied at 9 at the half. This was a very evenly balanced, hard-fought game, and you're thinking, okay, the Giants are in this one. That happens. You see the flags on the field, and you think, as a viewer, okay, that's for roughing the kicker, but it wasn't, and the touchdown stands, and then kind of the toothpaste is out of the tube at that point. Things start to get away from them, but the Giants still found a way to get their way back into it. The defense is on the field. Russell Wilson's got the ball. He's running from the pressure. Bobby Okereke gets the ball pushed out, comes away with it, gives the Giants a short field at the 35, and then they've got a chance right here as we take a look at this play right here. Russell Wilson scrambling under pressure.
I mean, this team is not giving up.
Yeah, not giving up at all.
The effort that the defensive front put up is impressive, right? They had no, usually there's momentum. This team on defense in the front seven, they don't need momentum. They're going to play hard. They're going to play aggressive no matter what the score. And that's one thing that you can build upon as a Giant, this team. Everybody should look towards that defensive line and how they perform and how they compete. And hopefully that'll become contagious and everybody will be able to compete on that level, because right now there's only one real group on this team that's performing at a high level week in and week out, making this defense one of the top defenses in the league, and it's that defensive front led by Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
And he had another phenomenal game. And sometimes we were talking during as the game was going on, sometimes he looks a little bit like Reggie White, the fact that he can just dominate games at points. He doesn't have Reggie White's ability to dominate the entire game but at points he can take over and really cause havoc from the inside.
Absolutely. It was a great moment to get the Giants a short field. Unfortunately, Daniel Jones would fumble on a sack, give the ball back, and then the Steelers would be forced to punt, and then the Giants would be in a 2-minute drill that, as we saw when we opened the show, did not turn out in their favor. You know what, we've got a lot more to break down about this game. We've got sound to get to as well. But first, I want to remind Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. You can learn more at moodys.com. Coming up on the show, we're going to hear from head coach Brian Daboll as he addresses the media after the Giants' 26-18 loss to the Steelers. But first, I want to remind you, limited tickets are available for the remaining home games at MetLife Stadium for the Giants' 100th season. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit giants.com/tickets to find your game and secure your seat today. Back with more after this. Tonight's scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Citizens is made for Giants fans. For every scoring drive this season, Citizens will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work tackling important community issues, improving overall health, and empowering our youth. All right, we start this one in the fourth quarter. Boswell kicks it. Smith-Marset grabs it in the end zone, runs this one back 47 yards. What a return right there to give the Giants good field position. Then Daniel Jones takes the snap, finds Malik Nabers, moves the chains for the first down. 3rd and 16, gets a new set of downs, and then DJ hands it off to Tyrone Tracy Jr. What do you got to do, Amani?
Call Tyrone.
There you go. Tyrone Tracy gets it in the end zone. The touchdown is good. And the Giants score their first touchdown of the game. 15 points on their 5 plays, 55 yards, 2 minutes and 9 seconds off the clock, capped by that 45-yard rushing touchdown by Tyrone Tracy Jr. The Giants would go for 2, but would not convert. We'll get into that one a little bit more later. Scoring drive of the game brought to you by Citizens. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. For more on this game, let's send it out to Pittsburgh. Giants fell to the Steelers 26-18 on Monday Night Football, but Paul Dottino and Howard Cross are standing by with more.
All right, thanks so much, Madelyn. Now, the Giants' resiliency, twice they came back and scored in the fourth quarter where the game could have gotten away from them, and then they actually had a last-second gasp, which was snuffed out by an interception. But the never-say-die mentality was certainly on display here.
I think they did a good job tonight of battling, staying connected the entire time. I thought the offensive line, even though they gave up a bunch of plays, let Tracy ramble tonight, man. He really did a good job running the ball, and they fought all the way to the bitter end.
Now, ultimately, the difference in this game is going to be the big plays that Pittsburgh made in the third and fourth quarters. They had the big 70-plus yard touchdown return on the punt. They also had 3 different long passes that led to a touchdown and a field goal.
Yeah, big explosive plays is what you can't have against you, but you're playing against the Steelers. You're playing against a quarterback who has experience, like hanging the ball in the air and letting guys run underneath it. And the special teams, unforgivable. You can't have a special teams play be the difference in the game.
Now, ironically, the Giants' offense also, though, did some very, very good things. You had Tyrone Tracy rushing for over 100 yards for the second time this season, and Darius Slayton caught over 100 yards of passes for the second time this season.
You know what? Both guys did a great job. I thought they did, again, both explosive plays as well. They weren't just like, 10 or 12 receptions. There was a lot of plays over 20 yards from both guys. The problem with that, though, is you had too many plays, too many false starts, too many legal procedures, too many guys downfield, even some holdings. You can't have that self-inflicted wounds. And we also had drops. You take those plays out, and all of a sudden, there's a touchdown in the end zone from a guy that didn't usually catch the ball, a blocking tight end. Felt bad for him on that play.
Yeah, each team did have a touchdown taken off the board in the first half. All right, I want to talk about the Giants' defense for just a second. Azeez Ojulari, once again, came up with 2 sacks. They did harass Russell Wilson tonight.
You know what? They did a good job coming off the edge. I think Dexter in the middle looked incredible as usual. And, Azeez played a great game.
All right, Howard, good to see you once again. Another great effort by the Giants, but it goes for naught. Let's go back to the studio.
Thanks so much. Great stuff for Paul Dottino and Howard Cross out in Pittsburgh. Madelyn, Burke, and Amani, Toomer here in the studio. And Toomer, they talked about the Giants' defense, leading the league in sacks and adding 4 more tonight as they got pressure on Russell Wilson. And, we talk about, Azeez Ojulari getting home, but, it was going around tonight. But Azeez did get 2, and he's really made the most of his opportunity, not only being healthy this season, but also as Kayvon Thibodeau is missing some significant time with that wrist injury.
Well, you look at the entire rush, right? When you're going after a quarterback like Russell Wilson, you have to stay in your rush lanes. You see Russell Wilson pull the ball down, and everybody seems to be in the right position to allow the rest of the team to attack. He's a guy that's very elusive in the pocket, and because of that, you have to stay disciplined. And this defensive line, as unselfish as they are, they could just individually try and go for a sack, but they don't. They do it very systematically. And I'm very impressed with this. I'm very impressed with the way that they do it. This defensive line is really the backbone of this entire team.
And watching those highlights, too, and seeing how active and involved Dexter Lawrence was in every single one of those was wild to think about the fact that we did not see the sexy Dexy sack dance once tonight. He didn't get a sack, but he was active and a factor in most that there.
Yeah, he's flushing the pocket from the inside, so that's what allows all these outside rushers to kind of really put the pressure on. And I bet Burns and Ojulari both need to make sure that they give a good hand to Dexter Lawrence for the pressure and the help, the assists that he had. I wish they had a stat for assisting on sacks because he did a lot of that tonight.
Absolutely. Not everything shows up in the box score, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we've got more to come here on the show. Giants Postgame Live rolls on. But first, want to remind you, Giants fans, the official 100th season book titled New York Football Giants, The People, The Moments, The Traditions is now available exclusively at the Giants online shop. Yours came with a plaque, though, too.
It came with a plaque. Yeah, it was really good. But those are better days, man. You want to look at some good stuff. That is a great detail of the history of the Giants.
It is. It explores the top 100 players of all time. Number 16, Amani Toomer over here. It also explores unforgettable games and stories that have defined the franchise for the last century. Visit the Giants online shop to get yours today. The plaque, though, only for players on that top 100 list here. We got more to come. Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health, continues after this. Giants fans, join the Giants text alert community for breaking news, sweepstakes, ticket offers, and important game day information. Just scan the QR code on your screen or text GIANTS to 201-636-1569 to get started. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Madelyn, Burke, and Amani Toomer in studio, recapping the Giants' 26-18 loss to the Steelers on Monday Night Football. For more, let's send it out to Pittsburgh as head coach Brian Daboll is at the podium.
Okay. Tough competitive game. Came down there to the end. Tough one. Tough one on the road.
What did they do offensively that they seemed to move the ball consistently pretty much the whole game?
Yeah, what they normally did, ran the ball, hit some boots, and hit a couple shots down the field. They did a nice job.
Why did you bench Deontay Banks?
Just thought, during that series, needed a little bit more. Had a conversation with him, and went with the other guys.
Did you have any issue with the low tackle attempt where he was hurdled?
No, that was a tough play. Najee does that. There's a couple of other little things there that, we got to tighten up detail-wise, and I know he will.
You mentioned based on his play on the field or the conversation you had on the sideline? Like, you said you spoke to him on the sideline. So is that to inform him you're benching, or that's? Yeah,
we talked to him on the sideline that we were going to go with Stroman.
What was Dexter yelling about after that drive when he was yelling at the DBs?
Just look, there's a lot of competitors on the team, and just hammering on the details.
How disappointing is it with everything coming into this game, Deontay, that you actually didn't see enough to keep him in the game?
Yeah. Again, he'll bounce back. He'll bounce back. We just, the way the series went, we decided to go in a different direction.
You mentioned he'll bounce back. Is he going to be your starter next week?
I'm not gonna make any declarations right now, but I would say so. But again, we got to go back. We got to watch the tape. We'll evaluate it again, like we normally do.
Was there effort issues on that drive, or was it performance? Just because there were some things going in that it was effort. So just to be clear.
I'm just gonna look. We made a decision to go with another player, and we'll see where we're at.
You seem to do a pretty good job with Watt and their front seven there, and it kind of broke down late. What happened there?
When?
In the second half. The first half
he's a heck of a player. He moved him to the left side sometimes. We had some shifts, and we're trying to do things to get the tight end to the appropriate side. Our guys battled. He's going to make some plays.
With the good things that you did do, what's the message to the guys in there? In a game, you get the ball with a chance to tie it at the end.
Yeah, no excuses. I thought there was, a lot of different things that we did well, but not enough. So, they made some good plays. We gave ourselves a chance at the end. They made a nice play on the ball. And, I was proud of the way they competed for 60 minutes. We knew this is a tough place to play. There was a lot of good things, just not enough of them.
Ryan, what happened on the two-point conversion? It seemed like the timing was all messed up.
Yeah, Motor was. So we've been working on that for a while. Motor was actually checking with the official to make sure that he was on the line of scrimmage, and Daniel saw the look that we needed to get to, where we were just going to throw the ball out there to Malik. We had a bunch of blockers. But he was talking to the official when Daniel snapped it and threw it out there, and they only had two guys out there, and the guy blew by him.
What did you see in the punt, though? It seemed like nobody moved.
Why he snapped. Because he snapped it quick. He saw the look. They were getting set. We weren't set, and the one guy that was out there was two guys out there. Was a bunch of guys inside. Saw the ball being snapped and beat us to the punch.
What did you see on the punt return there, and how damaging was that after?
Well, anytime you give up a return for a touchdown, it is. I'd say we kind of outkicked our coverage, and then with that becomes lane discipline. They had a couple nice blocks where he got to the edge. But that's, those two things, when you outkick it and the lane discipline isn't where it needs to be.
Did you ask for clarification on why there's no roughing on that play?
Yeah. No, I mean, they got a tough job to do.
When you saw the flag, though, did you think, if nothing else, it was potentially a running into situation when the flag was down?
You never know. You never know. It's quite a bit of them tonight.
Just in the last two drives, you have the one, just with the chance to tie, the one ends in the fumble, the second ends up in the interception, just in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, you want to maintain possession of the ball.
Why didn't you chip Watt on the strip sack play?
Yeah, he was supposed to be chipped.
Why wasn't he?
DJ was looking at the coverage, communication, but Jermaine was anticipating a chip.
With early on when you hit the touchdown to Manhertz and Nabers got called for the illegal shift, did you have an issue? It looked like you were pretty hot on the sideline, but did you have an issue with the penalty, or what? How did that play out in your mind? Did you think that should have been a touchdown?
Yeah, no. I mean, again, we got to make sure we can control what we control, make sure we're lined up properly so that there's touchdowns not taken off the board.
Brian, are you saying on the chip play, are you saying Daniel didn't make the right check, or are you saying it didn't get communicated?
It wasn't a check. He was going, pressure situation was a clock. We had a shift with the tight end to get back over to Watt, and we didn't get the shift. So we talked about it. We talked about it in the locker room. DJ feels terrible, to be honest with you. I don't know he's going to own it. He came up here to say he owned it. There was a shift that was accompanying the play. He was kind of surveying the coverage, deciding what he wanted to do, and we didn't get the shift. And they were lining up with him in different, sometimes they were lining up with him to the left a little bit more than they have, so we were making sure that if we put a chipper there, that he didn't line up opposite, so we were shifting to try to get the help where we needed to get the help.
What did you think of? I haven't seen, me personally, Daniel that fired up.
Yeah, I loved it.
About things.
Yeah, loved it. Yeah, I loved seeing his competitiveness. He cares. He works his butt off. And there's no one in this locker room that takes it harder than him. Just sitting down and talking and. He played hard. I thought he did a lot of good things, and unfortunately, we just at the end of the game there we had a couple turnovers, but I thought he played extremely hard, competitive, fiery, and that's what you want from your quarterback.
Was that just watching it on replay on TV? You couldn't tell. But it looked like it was almost directed at you or at the sideline. Daniel's firing his.
No, it was just let's get our butts set. So when we're set for the 2-point play, let's get out there and let's get set. So when we snap the ball, we got them blocked. And I appreciate that. I like that about it. It's good for him to do that.
Take us through your decision to start Chris Hubbard instead of Zudu there.
Yeah, I just thought it was. Thought he had a good week. Veteran, started over almost 60 games, had confidence in him. So, talked to Azudu Friday or Saturday morning. Said we're going to go with Chris, see how it goes. So we went with him.
You had a plan all spring and summer that Azudu was going to be your backup tackle. He's going to be your backup left tackle.
Yeah, I mean when you add veterans that have played a lot in this type of environment, we thought it was best for our team.
What accounts for the illegal formation penalties tonight? There were several of them.
What do you mean what accounts for it? We weren't lined up. They called us, shifting or not being set before we moved. Is that what you're asking?
You had a lot of them. I was just asking why.
Oh, yeah. We weren't set, and we were moving on motion, so, those hurt.
Any update on Tracy? We know he went out.
I don't have an update, but once again, guy played his tail off. So developing the right way, competitive, tough. He's a good football player for us.
What do you make of being 2-6 for the second straight year now?
It's not fun. Yeah. We work as hard as we can work each week. I believe we do things right. And unfortunately, the results aren't what we want them to be. So we got to have mental toughness. But it's, we like to get better results.
Okay. All right, Daniel, when he's ready, clock will go.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll is brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Giants. Madelyn, Burke, and Amani Toomer listening intently to the head coach, as you can see on the podium there. A lot of things that Dave said at the podium, saying, they work very hard. Unfortunately, it's not translating, expressing some frustration with some of those pre-snap penalties. But an interesting thing that I thought was how he broke down what went wrong in that two-point conversion. After that 45-yard Tyrone Tracy touchdown, they go for two, and it was a bit chaotic there.
It was, and it's disappointing because that changed the fundamental. And that 2-minute drive at the end, it wasn't just to go to tie the game. It was to go and you had to do another 2-point conversion when it could be, if you would have went for the 2-point conversion after scoring the touchdown on that, if the final drive would have been successful, the 2-point conversion could have been for the victory. So it's one of those things where you can always second guess as a Monday morning quarterback, but the execution of that play, it just really was to be desired. You figured if you have a special play that you've worked on in practice, and it looked like that, I don't care how hard you worked at it, it didn't produce the results. And we know that being in the NFL, playing for the Giants, it's a result-based business on Monday Night Football, big stage. The Giants have to have a better result than that. At least if you would have handed off the ball and they would have got tackled, that's one thing. But this is like when somebody doesn't even take a shot when the shot clock runs out. I mean, I feel like you need to have an opportunity to make a shot where I have to at least attempt at the score, and that play like that didn't even give you an opportunity for an attempt.
Absolutely. As you can see, as we saw in the highlight earlier in the show, it was a unique formation. The ball was snapped, but several players in the Giants on the line of scrimmage didn't move, and Highsmith was able to come through.
Yeah, that was disappointing. It
seemed the communication was off a little bit.
Communication was off, but it can't be. Like, this is professional football. It can't be one of those types of things. And I felt like the way that Highsmith ran between two blockers and nobody touched him, that to me was unacceptable. And I don't anticipate that happening again, but it was just very frustrating to watch a game that the Giants played so well take 2 steps forward, then they take one huge giant step back in that type of situation that kills the momentum of a touchdown.
A tough loss, a one-possession game coming down to the wire on Monday Night Football, but the Giants fall to the Steelers 26-18 in Pittsburgh. But we've got more to come. But first, I want to remind you guys, Giants fans, guests of our post-game show receive a gift certificate to Ben & Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben & Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. We've got more to come on the show. We'll hear from players, including the quarterback, Daniel Jones. That and more on Giants Postgame Live after the break. Tonight's Player of the Game is presented by HCL Tech, supercharging progress, the official digital transformation partner of the New York Giants. The Player of the Game, rookie running back Tyrone Tracy. Better call Tyrone. Running the ball, he had 145 yards, averaging 7.3 yards per carry. He had, 4 carries of at least 10 yards, which is incredible, because you think a run like this might bump up the average. A 45-yard touchdown to the house. It's the Giants their first touchdown of the game. Amani, quite the performance by the young running back. Again, 20 attempts, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 7.3 yards per carry on an average. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. You call Tyrone and he comes through on time, and I feel like, this is his second 100-yard game, and he just got it. Hasn't really got much opportunity, and he looks like he deserves more.
Absolutely. And the guy who was handing the ball to him, Daniel Jones, is at the podium. Let's send it down to Pittsburgh as the Giants quarterback is addressing the media.
Daniel, you were pretty upset on that two-point conversion. I mean, what was your view of what was going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I was just upset we didn't convert it. Yeah, we gotta execute and convert the play there. Just frustrated about that.
I mean, there was no. I mean, the execution. I mean, it didn't even get going. You know, I mean, the timing was all. You know, it wasn't like. I mean, what was your sense? I mean, was that the frustration?
That was frustrating. Yeah, that we didn't execute it. Yeah.
Why do you think you threw the ball and nobody kind of was moving at that point? They didn't seem ready. What was it that made them not be ready, or did you have to wait to snap the ball? Did they have to check earlier? How do you view that?
We just didn't execute it right. Yeah, gotta be sharp in those situations, and my job to get everybody on the same page and get everybody going. So gotta execute there.
And what happened on the strip sack there with Watt and not getting somebody over to?
Yeah, I needed to shift. Theo. Was looking at the coverage. I didn't shift him. Jermaine's expecting a chip, so he didn't get that, and so that's my fault.
Well, you guys did do a lot of good things tonight. How difficult is it when you're that close? You get the ball, you know, with a chance to tie it late, and you're just coming up short. You know.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure. Very frustrating. We hurt ourselves a lot tonight, and that's the most frustrating part about it. So we've got to be more detailed, starting with me, and you know, some of the good stuff that happened, you know, was negated by, you know, those mistakes.
You seem to have a little more edge to you than usual. How much of that, if any, has to do with what happened last week and wanted to prove yourself?
I think I always play with an edge. I always play with that. You know, I don't always show it the same, but yeah, I think I've always played that way. And yeah, maybe I showed it a little bit differently tonight, but that doesn't change in my approach and how I play. So yeah, I'm just frustrated with you know, coming up short again. So nobody really cares that we're frustrated. It's, you know, what are we going to do from here, and how are we going to fix the issues? So certainly look at myself first, see where I can do that.
As Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, as we take a look at his numbers on Monday night against the Steelers, 24 of 38 for 264 yards, no touchdowns, one interception, of course, coming at the end of the game as the Giants were driving down the field looking to tie. Daniel Jones talked about, Amani, there were some great moments. Obviously, it's frustrating to be in this position. Nobody cares about the frustration. We just got to work harder. But some of those great moments, you know, we're seeing DJ and Darius Slayton connecting a little bit more on those deep passes. What's been working of late there?
I just think they feel real comfortable with each other. I think Slayton deserves a lot more targets. And, you know, some of the big play capability really opens it up for the rest of the guys. Wandale underneath, and Malik Nabers as well underneath. And he's the only one that's consistently getting open deep and giving an opportunity and catching the ball more consistently than anybody else. So
and it's helpful, too, because you see the defense kind of keying in on Nabers, understanding the threat that is.
Yeah, and you see Nabers, you know, Joey Porter Jr. is the #1 corner for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's usually following Slayton. So that tells you what other teams think of the receiving core, and who they think is the best receiver on their team, giving Malik Nabers the second best cornerback duties during the game, because I just feel like Malik Nabers needs to get open deeper more often, like Slayton, to kind of round out the balance of this wide receiving core.
Absolutely. And Slayton, of course, another 100-yard game, 4 receptions, 108 yards, including that 43-yard long right there, as we saw Daniel Jones' arm getting going on Monday Night Football. Not enough, though, as the Giants fell to the Steelers 26-18. We've got more to come on the show. Stay with us. Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health, continues after this.
Malik, in some ways, this offense did show more spark tonight than it had in the last few weeks. What do you think the difference was in that regard?
The difference was we just toughened up. Came out here, played a really good team, tried our best to do what we got to do. I mean, we executed well on offense, had a lot of missed opportunities, but for the most part, we stayed on track, had a lot of penalties, but try to play as clean of a game as possible.
One of your fellow rookies, Tyrone Tracy, ran for another 100-yard game tonight, and I'm sure as a fellow rookie, that's got to make you feel good for him.
I mean, yeah, that's good. He puts in the work all week, so just to see him go out there and continue to help us in the run game, we've been lacking that a couple of weeks, so just to get him the ball, let him do what he do with the ball, so just see him go out there, as a rookie and do the things that he's been doing, it's a salute for him.
What happened on the legal shift that negated the touchdown?
I mean, they said I was moving forward. I mean, I got set, and then I motioned again. I think we had like 12 seconds left on the clock, so I tried to get set as fast as possible and then, motion. But I guess they called it back, said I was moving forward. I mean, we looked at the play, had a different say on it, but, refs won again.
The 2-point conversion looked better.
That's Giants wide receiver Malik Nabers as we take a look at his numbers from Monday Night Football against the Steelers. 7 receptions for 72 yards, including a 16-yard long on 13 targets. We heard him talking about that illegal motion penalty that called back the touchdown to Manhertz. When you watch the replay, Amani, as a receiver, obviously, before you go in motion, you have to be fully established before you move. It looked like Malik kind of set his feet, but not enough to satisfy the needs of the officials. It was a bit of a brief kind of a hiccup move before getting into motion. Is that correct?
Those are the details that you have to have, especially if you're not a detail-oriented person. I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but these are the types of things that really can lose you games. I mean, you put that 6 points on the board, and this is going, that last drive is going for a field goal to win the game. So those are the types of things that really separate the good from the great and the average teams from the great teams. When all these teams are at a high level of athleticism and preparation and effort, what shows is in the small details. The difference between good and great are the small details, and that detail came around and bit us today, bit the Giants, and it really can't happen, especially on the professional level.
Well, and when you see multiple pre-snap penalties and multiple illegal motion penalties, it shows, too, in the way that they played through the rest of the game. Even when they're trying to hurry up and move quickly, you could see Daniel Jones making sure the receivers are set before going for the snap because he doesn't want to risk that again. Yeah,
it just seems like maybe there's too much going on. Maybe there's too many different intricate details that they're not, so maybe they should peel them back till they get them all the way under control, and then they can start adding things over and over again. Because we hear all the time how hard they work, but the proof is in the fact that they're not taking care of the small details, and that's what's costing them games. These close games that are winnable are being lost because of the small, itty-bitty details that seem mundane. That and the consistency in that regard as well. But speaking of wide receivers, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. Darius Slayton, he had a 100-yard game, 108 on 4 receptions. Listen it out to the locker room as he's speaking to the media.
Darius, I can't even imagine the emotions that is going through you guys right now because of the back and forth of the fourth quarter. Yeah. You kept staying in it, and then the final drive just didn't have enough.
Yeah. Obviously a very frustrating way to lose. Good football team over there, but obviously, we felt like if we would have made a couple more plays, it would have been a different outcome.
One thing people kept saying about this offense, you got to get explosive plays, you got to get some big plays. You had some of those tonight. Where did they come from? Where did they manifest themselves? Because, again, it had been a while since you guys been able to make those.
Yeah, just getting the ball up, getting shots up. You got to take shots to hit shots, and we did a little bit better job that tonight, but even at that, we probably left, I would say, probably 2 out there, at least, that we could have still hit.
Yeah, the drop passes and the penalties are going to be, I think, the 2 things when you guys watch the film are really going to gnaw at you.
Yeah, penalties killed us in the first half. I think we had a drive. In one drive, I think we got 4 or 5 flags, which just can't happen. You can't get positive yards and then take yourself right back, so obviously that's on us and the details and trying to prevent those things.
The one thing that I thought was pretty surprising after the punt return for a touchdown, which by many stretches people thought, okay, they're breaking it open. Yeah. But how did you guys respond to that?
I think just we came with the right mindset. We knew there was going to be a tough atmosphere. We knew there was going to be a tough win, so we were able to stay in it, and obviously we went down and scored, got it back to 1-possession game. Then our defense got the turnover, and we were right there in position to tie the ball game up at the end. So I think just having the right mindset, preparing the right way, but obviously on game day you got to make the plays to get it done.
Darius, thanks for your time.
Sure, of course.
It's Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live as we recap the Week 8 loss on Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh. Back with more after this.
It does seem like this locker room is reacting even more upset and more frustrated and more disgusted than even the other losses I saw this year.
Yeah, this one hurt a lot. It was a grimy game, but we had an opportunity, we had a chance, but we didn't come through. That's why it hurts bad, you know. It's a tough loss.
Could you describe where this resiliency came from in the fourth quarter? Because every time they seemed to try to pull away, you guys came back, you made plays, you got some points on the board, and you kept the game within reach until the final drive.
Yeah, I commend the leaders on this team, on this group, and defense, offense, all the leaders on this team. I give all the praise to them, keeping everyone upright, just ready to go. One play mentality, next play mentality, one play at a time, and we just kept going. We just kept trying to hunt and make a play.
As Giants linebacker Azeez Ojulari after a tough loss in Pittsburgh in which he had 2 sacks on the night. Giants fans, check out the Eli Manning Show presented by Panini Prism Trading Cards. All you have to do is subscribe to the Giants YouTube channel to catch all the new episodes, including this week's with the O's the Mentalist. Not us, O's. Check it out. It's the Eli Manning Show. Subscribe today to Giants YouTube. Let's turn the page to Week 9. The Giants back at MetLife Stadium hosting the Washington Commanders, a 1 p.m. game Sunday, November 3rd. A division game, but also a matchup of fellow teammates. Malik Nabers, college quarterback, Jaden Daniels, number 2 overall pick, coming to town, coming off a thrilling win over the Bears in which he threw a game-winning Hail Mary. But Amani, what do you make of what we've seen from Daniels so far this season?
Oh, he's impressive. He's electric. He's everything that you would expect of a young superstar, top quarterback. He can do so many different things. You kind of have to figure out, to try to figure out his weaknesses is going to be tough. But the way that the defense of the Giants rushes, I think that it's going to be a good way to. Last week was a good way to show how to do it.
He can throw it deep, he can run. It'll be a test for the Giants defense, and we'll be there afterwards with more Giants post-game live. For Amani, Toomer, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week.